That is amazing. I'm listening to that on my headphones, and I'm like, unbelievable production. Laura.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I mean, the hair on my arms are standing up.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Oh, you know, I often say to most musicians that you should not wear every hat. You should not be the person that writes the music, records the music, produces the music, engineers it, masters it, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I think people that want to wear all those hats should listen to you.
Oh, it didn't come without a price, Nick.
Tell us about the process. I mean, this has got to be just, I mean, your son taught you, helped you learn how to write, or not write, but to go through this process. I mean...
Yeah. We got started on a program called Sonar, and we got a real cheap audio interface to hook up to the computer so I could, hook up microphones. And at the time, my digital piano, I didn't know anything about virtual instrumentation at the time. So he kind of got me started. And then, by the way, can I just back up for a minute? On that track, I just wanted to let everybody know the credits for that track.
Yes.
For Now Is Where You Are. And that was basically myself and my wonderful drummer percussionist Van Hunsberger on cymbals. So that was just the two of us for that track. He did some beautiful swelling cymbal work for that.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, so then, sure enough, I connected through the internet with a good old friend of mine from back in the day who had his own studio in Nashville. And just a good friend. And he talked me into going to Pro Tools. He said, Laura, if you really want to do this, you want to do like an album quality and still do it yourself, get into Pro Tools. And so I switched over, and he also talked me into going from PC to Mac. So I invested in my Mac and Pro Tools, and he kind of walked me through getting a decent mic, which would be, better than what I had because I was singing through a Shure 58. And so he talked me to get a better mic for my vocals. And then that's when the real work started, and going through the tutorials of learning Pro Tools and then learning how to use virtual instrumentation. Before you knew it, I was getting new software, Garriton software that gave me the ability to have strings and cellos and flutes and trumpets. And then graduated onto another software called Atmosphere, which you'll hear a lot of that in my songs. I use Atmosphere software, which creates a lot of the ambient sounds. And that software is used by a lot of soundtrack writers in the sci-fi movie and TV industry. It was used on The Hobbit. Danny Elfman uses it a lot. A lot of the Star Trek show writers used it. I've seen them demo it at NAMM.
Nice. How can people find you? What's your website and Facebook?
Simply lauracasale.com, www.lauracasale.com. Everything's all in one shot. A good friend of mine, I've had so much wonderful help along the way. People have just donated their time, and my friend John Munson offered to do the website for free of no charge. And whenever I got the money, just to give him what I think it's worth. I mean, that's just, and he has been spending so much time tweaking it as I've been giving him content. And that's part of the reason I have this campaign going, so that I can give some people what they have put their time in to help me with on this album as well.
Yeah, let's talk about the campaign. You're doing a Kickstarter campaign?
Yes.
And is that information available on your website and on Facebook?
It absolutely is. It's directly on the front page of the website.
Very nice. Now, I have been to the Kickstarter campaign page, and I really love what you got going on. I love the fact that instead of begging for money, and there's nothing wrong with asking your fans to help support you, because bands like Marillion started this way before Kickstarter, 10 years ago they were doing it. And by doing so, you're offering your fans something special in return. But what I loved about you is you kind of like told the story of your life in the video.
Yeah. Well, that's the first video I had on there. Now, that's the autobiography, which is like 25 minutes long with part 1. Now, I have had part 1, part 2, part 3. I'm up to part 4.
Oh,
And
really?
they're all posted on YouTube now, and they're also on the website. My web designer has posted those on the website under videos. If you'd like to watch a little documentary, my musical journey, my musical voyage, and those are all there now. But, I felt like, because so many people have asked me, wow, you've been working on this for 10 years? Like, what's taken so long? And, what's your deal? I mean, I'm not just, I'm just still got a little bit of a different story. And so I decided to document it.
Well, it's really funny. I find that there are 2 types of first albums. There are those artists that release their first album and you see potential there, and then there are those albums like yours, which is like coming out the gate one of the strongest albums I've heard in years. And I gotta say that I think you're going to do really well with this album. It is just fantastic.
That I really appreciate that, and I know your taste in music, and so coming from you, that's a great compliment, and I thank you very much for that.
My pleasure. What I love about this album, and I think what people will find, is that the album is honest, it's pure, it's real, it's from the heart, and it's filled with loads of emotion, yet not to the point where people are going to say, oh, I can't deal with this. It's going to be one of those things where people go, oh, I can relate to this song or that song. And I think that's what makes a good album, is something that people can relate to.
Cool. That's what I want.
As far as the campaign is going, how is that doing for you?
Well, right now we are 28% funded. I have 22 funders who have been amazing. We have 37 days left. Our goal is to raise $5,000, which is really, I've seen bands out there doing these campaigns trying to raise 10,000. But of course, a lot of the work has been done. The album is done now. So we're not paying for production costs or studio time or anything like that. It's basically just getting the final preparations done, the artwork finished, and getting it into a nice package for people. I mean, Ed's artwork is worthy of a nice package.
Oh, without a doubt.
My music, we'd like to be able to put something out there that is quality. And this is almost like my book, a book I've written. And so we'd like to have it in that sort of a format where it's like a media booklet with the 13 songs with the lyrics mean a lot. And so we want to showcase that nicely. And that's what we're really trying to raise the funds to be able to do that.
I think that's one of the things that really lacks in modern music, is so many people are going, well, I'm just going to release a digital album. I'm not going to release it on CD or vinyl or DVD or whatever. And you miss the picture. And you're right. Releasing an album, especially for you, but just I think anyone out there, whether it's a conceptual album or not, it is a story of a period of your life that album is compromised of, from the start of that album to the finish of that album. And there's something to be said about holding something in your hand and flipping through pages.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think what I love about Ed's artwork is he tells the story of an album visually.
Yes.
And then you tell it through your music and your voice. And I can't think of a better combination. I really think that is something that's really important, that musicians should definitely not just find someone just to do a cool looking cover, of Torpedoes, in space or whatever, but something that is stimulating so that you want to be involved with the album. Now, when someone picks up your album, they're going to sit there and they got this book, and whether it's a digipack or whatever. But the fact that they can sit there and just kind of walk along through the story of your music with you, to me, that makes me feel like I'm almost part of your band when I do that. Because I'm now involved in your story.
Right. And I'm a big movie buff. I just love movies. I love soundtracks. And, back in the day when we had our albums, our vinyl LPs, I would sit there mesmerized when I would get a new album and look at especially because I'm a big Yes fan, and I'd look at the Roger Dean artwork and read the lyrics and just put myself in that world.
Yeah, that's something that I still to this day enjoy. I love to immerse and we talked about this via Skype. It's one thing for me to listen to something on a computer, and it's another thing for me to listen to it on my home stereo or in my car. Right. And the majority of the people out there today call their computer their home stereo, and you can't. No. I can't. I have never seen anyone, and I could be wrong, but I've never seen anyone put an album on their computer, put their headphones on, and tune the world out, because that doesn't happen. What they do is they put the album on, they put their headphones on, and then they're on social media like Facebook or Reverb Nation, or they're watching a trailer for, funny trailers, or looking for images or posting images. You kind of miss the whole boat.
They're not completely connected to the now of that moment in the music. Their brain is going different directions. You can't completely immerse yourself that way.
No. How has the internet changed you as a musician? Because the internet's still relatively new, and you have been playing music since you were a child. Right. And you were playing live out in the public way before the internet. How has that changed you as a musician, as a person, in general?
Oh, well, it's opened me up, obviously, to the people around the planet and the world in different cultures. And I have a greater appreciation for different cultures and in the world, and what's going on on the planet, as a whole. I've awakened in many ways to what's going on outside of my own life, my own four walls, having compassion for people. When that earthquake happened in Japan, which, you had that project going on to that relief effort, look at what we were able to accomplish there.
Oh, it was amazing.
With just a few musicians that you got together to donate music and help bring some relief to a disaster that was happening on the other side of the planet.
Yeah, strength is still, it's not doing as well as it could, but it's still, from time to time, we sell copies of that, and we're still donating money to the cause. So it's a great thing.
Right, and so the internet, I think, has made it possible for us to do things like that. That is fantastic. We could actually make an impact. Somehow everybody does their little parts, and we change the world one person at a time.
You're talking about your fans. Now, I have been following you on Facebook, like I said, for a long time, and I've noticed that your fan base is very, very diverse. Mm-hmm. What do your fans mean to you?
Oh, they mean everything to me. The fans that are connecting with my music, it means a lot, because it is the music is very personal, very emotional. When they connect with a song like Peace Be Still or Now Is Where You Are, I know that, there's a synchronicity there that we have as people. My fans mean everything to me, really. They're friends. You know, if they can connect with what I'm writing, it's fantastic to me.
Yeah, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that I think there's going to be people out there that gravitate towards one song or another, right, because they're going to say, I can relate to that.
Yes.
Speaking of music, we should probably play another song from the album.
Okay.
What song would you like me to play next?
Broken Wing. Let's go with that.
Okay, so tell us about this track.
Basically, it's about being broken and finding healing and finding the relief in the God within me. Basically, Broken Wing is about finding shelter and healing and being a friend. I was going through a very hard, lonely, devastating time where I just felt like, wow, where's the friend that I could go to for relief, for healing, for just to relax? You know, and I thought, in my life, I would like to be that kind of a friend to my friends, to where I could be somebody that they can go to where they feel safe. And so this is just about being broken and then being healed and being able to fly again.
What instrumentation is used on this particular track?
Okay, so it's piano, different keyboards, virtual instrumentation that I have done, my vocals, and then we've got my son Daniel playing bass. We've got Paul Brannon on guitars, and Van Hunsberger on drums.
Very cool. All right, so I'm going to play this track, and I'm going to bring you back here in just under 7 minutes, and I hope that everyone in the chat room, or people even listening in, are enjoying this album. We're only going to, we're not going to play the whole album for you. You're going to have to wait and buy the album, because that's what makes it special. But what we're doing is kind of teasing you along with some fantastic music, which I'm telling you, I love this album.
Thank you.
I haven't, I've played it every day since I've gotten a copy of it. The first day, I probably played it all day long, but since then, I've probably played it at least twice a day. It's just great. It's
Thank you.
I'm not saying that because you're here.
I know.
Only because you paid me to say that.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But seriously, I do love this album, and I think people will as well. And I think people are dying to hear another track. So I'm going to bring you back here in about just under 7 minutes.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Then something took you by surprise. You're not sure quite what it was that hit you, but you're off course from your destination, falling from the elevation with lightning speed. You swerve